Oscar's mother baked delicious Norwegian pastries, particularly around Christmas time. Sometimes, in placing before me a plate of her delicacies, she would say something tender to me in Norwegian. I always turned away to hide the shameful moisture in my eyes. As Mrs. Sunderland knew, my mother had died when I was 7, and I think that was why she was especially kind to me. Oscar's tough old father presented no such problem. I doubt that he'd ever said anything kind to anyone in his life. Oscar was very much afraid of him and risked a whipping if he were not at home in time to help with the milking. No one was concerned about the hours I kept. I was a very competent 11-year-old. If I came home long after dark, my father would merely look up from his book to greet me, vaguely and courteously. He allowed me to live my own life, keep pet skunks and woodchucks in the backyard and the barn, pamper my tame crow, my many cats, and my faithful St. Bernard. He even let me build my 18-foot canoe in the living room. I had not entirely completed the framework, so it would take another year at least. When we had visitors, they sat in the easy chairs surrounding the canoe, or skirted the prow to reach the great shelves of books we were continuously lending. We lived alone and liked it, cooked and cleaned in our own fashion, and paid little attention to indignant housewives who told my father that this was no way to bring up a child. My father agreed amiably that this might well be true, and then returned to his endless research for a novel concerning the Fox and Winnebago Indians, which, for some reason, was never published. "I'm headed for Wentworth's Woods," I told Oscar, "and I may not start home before moonrise." "Wait a minute," Oscar said. "We'll need something to eat." He returned so swiftly with a paper sack filled with coffee cake and cookies that I knew he had swiped them. "You'll get a licking when you get home." "Ishkabibble, I should worry," Oscar said, a happy grin spreading across his wide face. We crossed the creek on the stepping stones below the dam. Pickerel were making their seasonal run up the stream, and we nearly caught one with our hands as he snaked his way between the stones. Killdeer started up from the marshy shallows, crying, "Killdeer! Killdeer!" as though a storm were brewing. Wowzer had many virtues, but he was not a hunting dog. So we were much surprised when, in Wentworth's Woods, he came to a virtual point. Oscar and I waited silently, while the St. Bernard, on his great paws, padded softly to the hollow base of a rotten stump. He sniffed the hole critically, then turned and whined, telling us plainly that something lived in that den. "Dig him out, Wowzer!" I shouted. "He won't dig," Oscar predicted. "He's too lazy." "You just watch," I said loyally, but I wasn't betting any glass marbles. In another minute, Wowzer was making the dirt fly, and Oscar and I were helping in a frenzy of excitement. We scooped the soft earth with our hands and used our pocket knives when we came to old decaying roots. "I bet it's a fox," I panted hopefully. "Probably an old woodchuck," Oscar said. But we couldn't have been more surprised when a furious mother raccoon exploded from her lair, screaming her rage and dismay. Wowzer nearly fell over backward to avoid the flying claws and slashing little teeth. A moment later, the big raccoon had racked her way up a slender oak tree. 30 feet above us, she continued to scream and scold. In plain sight now, within the den, we found 4 baby raccoons, a month old perhaps. The entire litter of kits might easily have fitted within my cap. Each tail had 5 black rings. Each small face had a sharp black mask. 8 bright eyes peered up at us, filled with wonder and worry, and from 4 inquiring little mouths came whimpered questions. "Good old Wowzer," I said. "That's a pretty good dog you got there," Oscar admitted. "But you'd better hold him back." "He wouldn't hurt them. He takes care of all my pets." In fact, the big dog settled down with a sigh of satisfaction, as near to the nest as possible, ready to adopt one or all of these interesting little creatures. But there was one service he could not render.